now my utmost and ultimate privilege to welcome a dear friend and one of the most dynamic entrepreneurs on the scene, the dashing Ashish Hemrajani, who is the founder and CEO of the most ubiquitous BookMyShow. And no, I am not going to elucidate on his achievements because I need Coldplay tickets. It's just that Ashish has always been the doer. For those of you who've been living under a rock, let me tell you, he is the founder and CEO of Big Tree Entertainment, which operates BookMyShow, India's leading online entertainment platform for tickets and event management. A little bit more about his background. He started his journey in 1997 with an MBA in marketing. Ashish has founded the company in 1999, launched BookMyShow in 2007, capitalizing on the rise of multiplexes and digital payments, as you all know. And under his leadership, BookMyShow has expanded internationally to Dubai, Indonesia, Singapore, Sri Lanka. Ashish has attracted investors like TPG Growth, Accel, continues to foster future leaders within and beyond his organization, including fans like the rest of us. Through Book a Smile, BookMyShow's charity initiative, Ashish has positively impacted millions of lives across India. So sit back and let him teach us today about scaling up and getting it right. So it's time to book this show, ladies and gentlemen, Ashish Hemrajani.
Thanks, Minnie. Thank you for having me. When Baman called me and told me that, I have to come and do this talk, I'm like, I know he's Parsi, but I didn't know how cracked he was. Itna to pagal nahi hai, because the problem is, you come from an industry that makes billions of dollars, and you all are all silently doing this. I come from an industry that makes losses, and I'm trying to give you gyan on how to run a business. So there's something upside down in this world. I shouldn't be the one talking to you. We just get the glory on economic times, but it's worth nothing. But I guess one of the reasons why Baman thought that I should come and talk is he's seen my journey as a close friend over years and years, and some of the pains that we went through, and if there is any lesson that you can pick up or anything you can take from my journey and it helps you in yours, I think that's what entrepreneurs do with each other, is to share stories and something resonates somewhere. So and yeah, we are sold out, so I don't have any tickets to give you for Coldplay. But let's get the elephant out. We're working on, okay, over a few drinks, I think we let ourselves loose. I'm working with Baman. We'll come back to you for some news on CREDAI. But I can't promise, but we'll do something. I started my journey in 1999 with BookMyShow. I'm the Forrest Gump guy. I'm not a great friend of the real estate industry. I've lived in one home for 50 years. I've not moved. I've not bought anything. And I've just not moved. I live in a suburb in Bombay. I grew up and I did my MBA, and I was working for an advertising agency called J. Walter Thompson. And if you've seen the series Mad Men, it was a smoking office. And so I needed to clear my head. I like a cigar once in a while, but it was constant smoke, and I wanted to take a holiday. So on a very princely budget of 65,000 rupees, I went to South Africa, Zimbabwe, and Botswana on a 2-week trip, which I extended by 4 weeks, and I lost my job because I told my boss I'm not coming back for another 4 weeks. But on that journey, so people ask me, how did BookMyShow happen? BookMyShow happened because of smoking and drinking. I don't smoke, but that trip started because of that. And while traveling from Joburg to Cape Town, at Storms River Valley, under a big tree, I got a business idea because I heard a radio commercial trying to sell rugby tickets online. Most of us growing up in India have been to movie theaters. If you recall those days, today all of us have forgotten. And some of you, how you're changing the real estate industry, we've forgotten that convention centers, movie theaters, malls didn't exist till you sort of stepped in and built all of that out. So was the case with movie theaters. If you recall, you had a movie and you would have advanced booking and current booking. Under advance and current, you had 3 pigeonholes, which was dress circle, stall, and balcony. And you had to choose the line. And if that ticket ran out, you had to come back out of the line and stand. And there used to be a box office timing. And so all of us in college used to sit on that stairs waiting for Regal, Sterling, Rex Cinema in Bangalore. Irfan, you would remember, standing in line. Basically, we met all our wives and girlfriends at those steps because we would wait and there was time. So, and then you would go and buy the ticket, and then all the scalpers and black marketers would be selling all those tickets outside. And that was the reality, and we all grew up in that. Cricket tickets, you would stand and get lathi charged all night to reach the box office to be told that there are no tickets available. It's almost like going to Starbucks with your credit card and the guy saying, I'll hit you on your knuckles and not give you a coffee. And still he's doing you a favor. And that's exactly the life that we grew up in 1999, 2000, 2001, not too long ago. And if you recall, then there is a Cinema Regulation and Telegraph Act of India from 1856, which has not been changed till today. And you had these paper tickets, which were pink, blue, and green in color. And those paper tickets were defined, the gauge of the paper, the gauge of the staple was defined. So I'll give you a little anecdote. So if you had a show at 4 o'clock on Tuesday, and then you had no show for the next 3 years, at 4 o'clock at that time in that screen, and 4 years later you had another show at 4 o'clock, your rolling number on that had to start from, can run till 99,999. So if you had sold 300 tickets 4 years ago, your next serial number had to start from 301. Bizarre law, and that is still prevalent in the country. So we had to start from the scratch by telling the government that can we at least do automated rolls, and even that law, it was not permitted. So having said that, when I was in South Africa, I got this business idea. I said, you can buy tickets online, you can jump the queue, you can get food and beverage, you can get discount on merchandise. Why are we living in this under a rock? And so I continued down my journey from Joburg. There is a wine growing region in South Africa called Napa, called Stellenbosch. It's like the Napa of South Africa. And they give you free wine tasting. So, everybody is easy eating vada pav and chai in India. You put a glass of wine, everybody starts smelling, seeing the viscosity, smelling the wine, spitting it out. Oh, sala free wine de raha hai. So from 11 in the morning to 3 in the afternoon, I'm a Sindhi, I love free things. So udhar jaake they are giving us wine. I drank 25 glasses of wine between 11 and 3. Small. I was so smashed out of my brain. I woke up in a youth hostel on a bunk bed the next morning, which wasn't mine. And by that time, I'd sent the most expensive text message of my life to my boss. I'm not coming for another 4 weeks. She said, don't come back. So I came back to India after my holiday, and I built a business plan. At that time, sending a fax was faster than email. If you remember TCP/IP dial-up days, it used to take 30 minutes to dial up. So I sent a fax to Chase Capital Partners, JP Morgan. There were 2 Sindhis on the other side, Bharat Keval Ramani and Anil Ahuja. And they said, you come over. So 1999, there was no VC funding, hedge funding, permanent capital, ye, wo, falana, tikana, all that nonsense. You either took money on debt, which all of you guys understand, or you borrowed from a friend, friends and family, and that's how you build businesses. So I go to this VC office and I tell them I have a business plan. They said, show it to me. It was 1 page. There was no business plan. He said, kitna paisa chahiye? I said, $500,000. Next week, I had $500,000 in my savings bank account. I didn't have a current bank account. My parents thought I had gone and mortgaged the house, done something. Who will give you money? Are you in the drug trade? Why is that guy giving you money? So anyways, so now the money has arrived. Now I don't know what to do with the money. Sala business plan to hai. I did not know what the law was. So then we started figuring out what needs to be done. And the most important thing was automating and digitizing cinemas and changing the law. And there was a section officer called Madhav Kale, I still remember, in the Maharashtra government. After persisting, the guy didn't understand what I was saying. He's saying, Sala, tumko chahiye kya? So he wrote something. He said, tum likho paper pe, and he signed and I approved my GO. It was called the government order. I still remember, Diwali, I gave him a 611 Nokia phone for 6,000 rupees 6 months later, and he thankfully took it. That was the start of BookMyShow. I still have to thank that officer. I don't know where he is. So that was in 99. By 2001, News Corp had invested in us, and by 2002, the dot-com bust had hit India. So we went from 160 people down to 6. So you know what B2B and B2C means, right? Yeah. So at that time, B2B and B2C meant back to banking and back to consultancy. So everybody was going back to banking and consultancy. Everybody was leaving internet. So I went to News Corp and I said, bhai, I want to buy the company. There is some, intrinsic value. So he says, there's a slump sale. Why don't you do a slump sale? I had never heard of a slump sale. So he said, we need $100,000. $100,000 at that time was 50 lakh rupees. I didn't have the money. So like a good Indian boy, I went to my mother, held a pallu, and I said, yeah, I need 50 lakhs. She's saying, I've been skimming your father, 4-5 lakh bank mein pada in the safe. I don't have 50 lakhs. I said, okay, but I said, I need to buy the company. So she didn't ask any questions. We went to the bank, opened the safe at Saraswat Cooperative Bank. At that time, there was a real bank manager at the other side of the table. Aajkal to sab digital hai. Went over there, met the guy. Thursday, took the property papers, which is where you guys come in because people say property saves lives. That's what happened. I took the property papers, went to the bank manager. He gave me a loan next week for 50 lakh rupees. We mortgaged the property. I told my mom I'll pay her back in 10 years. I paid her back in 18 months. She passed away in 2020. My dad and I were having a malt. And I told her the house that you used to live in that time didn't belong to you because I had mortgaged it. And we had a big laugh. So I paid her back in 18 months. 2002, I bought the company back. And in 2007, I got invested by Network 18 and Viacom, which is Reliance. They are my investors. 2012, Axel Venture Partners came in, 14 Elevation Capital from Utah, 16 we raised money from Stripes Capital in New York, and TPG led around in 2018. That was the journey. And then the pandemic happened. So pandemic, our business was down to zero. People were enjoying homes that you guys have built. People were ordering food. Our business is sending people out of their home. Movie theaters, live events, we were down to zero. And I had 1,600 people. So I didn't know what to do, so I went off to Goa for a year and a half. And I ran my business from there, where we surfed 4 times a week, cycled, swam. It cleared my head. We went through this adversity, but what came out of this adversity was something quite unique. I had no choice but to offload people, offboard people. But I said, okay, here are the 4 things that we're going to do as people. Number 1, our primary responsibility is to our customers. Our primary responsibility is to our shareholders. Our primary responsibility is to our employees. And our primary responsibility is to the community we serve. And so we embarked on a plan where every Friday I would do a town hall and speak anything. You could ask me anything, any employee, and we would give the bad news first. So every Friday at 12 o'clock, we ran a town hall. And the first thing that we did was we launched an online version of live events on our platform. So customers like you could see Pratik Kuwad play online, Katy Perry play music online, and we served it and we built it literally in 2 weeks. So we innovated during adversity, and we built this platform and we gave it free to customers because for 20 years we had made money from all of you. And we said, this is the one thing that we can do, where we paid artists, built this platform, but didn't charge customers. And kept customers engaged who were at home. Number 2, shareholder value. We needed to save money. And we didn't take a knee-jerk reaction. It took us 8 to 9 months and over 6 cycles of cuts. We reduced the size of the company from 1,650 people to 550. So I had to remove 1,100 people in the company. And at every level, some were friends, partners, people that followed us as a dream, but we had no choice. And the only guiding principle was if that position has to go, the person attached to the position goes. So maafi manga, haath jod ke, and we said, what we will do is create a 4-team outplacement cell. And we will offboard people and try and get them jobs. The BookMyShow brand name was strong. At some time, you would get a job. The third thing we did was ran LinkedIn accounts, which we paid for. And we cover everybody's insurance as a company. It's the cheapest gift you can give your employees. So we cover pure term life for every employee, 2 kids, set of parents, and 1 spouse. If you have 2, 3 tucked away, that's your problem, but we cover 1. And so we cover all of these guys, and it is paid for by the company with a central pool. So one of the things that we actually did was during this period, all the employees that we offboarded, we continued the insurance till December 31st, 2022. So even if they had got a job somewhere else, we were making sure that their families were protected. So that was the second thing that we did for employees. The third thing was for serving our community and serving, so we spoke about shareholders, we spoke about employees, there was the community, and we had a primary responsibility to save the business. Now, that gets me to the point that, India from a Westerner's view is 33 states. They glorify India, right? It's somewhere between Europe and America. We are constantly selling ourselves to Goras, where we are 33 states, 5 union territories, different culture, different food. India is a vibrant country with so many cultures and all of that. That is a Western view, that it's somewhere between Europe and somewhere between America, our judicial system, and our political system. But for me, as an Indian, and for you, and I can be politically incorrect here, we are 4 Indias. We are the London of India, the United Kingdom of India, the Brazil of India, and the Africa of India. And we, as a community and business community, have to serve all 4. So the London of India is about 5 to 7 million Indians, which are concentrated around Bombay, Delhi, Bangalore, Jaipur, Indore, Pune, but largely it could be anywhere. That demographic is the highest 2 percentile in the world, which is all of us guys. You can afford anything. If I look at your bill for this CREDAI conference, you are one of the richest people in the country, right? And I know how much you are spending. So I can say it with confidence. So this London of India, private educated, private healthcare, can afford and do anything, is about 7 million Indians. And these are the guys who want the Coldplay tickets, right? Then you've got 50 million Indians or 55 million Indians, which I call the United Kingdom of India. English-speaking, private education, private healthcare. This group of 60 million, both combined, probably control about 60–70% of the wealth of the country. And we have a social and moral responsibility, but we've all earned it, and we're proud of it. Then there is a whole group of Indians, which I call the Brazil of India, which is the emerging middle class. If you looked at your driver, your house help, all of that, we used to pay them 8,000 rupees, 9,000 rupees. Today, your driver gets paid anywhere between 22 to 25,000 rupees. And then there's overtime. The average monthly household income of this group of people, 400 million Indians, used to be about $100 a month, 8,000 rupees. Today, it is $400 a month, which is about 24 to 25,000 rupees. If you were to do the McDonald or the beer index and a PPP and compare it to America, what gets you in America for $1,600 gets you in India for $400. So that is what they can afford. So you've got 400 million Indians which are operating at a 25,000 rupee monthly household income. And then there is about 300 million Indians, which I call the Africa of India, underserved, undernourished, overexploited by schmucks and douchebags like us. That is the truth of our country. London of India, Brazil of India, London of India, United Kingdom of India, Brazil of India, and Africa of India. BookMyShow operates in all 3 levels. As a business community and as developers, you all are building malls, movie theaters, you're building homes, entertainment venues. Irfan and I were talking about that last night. I think there is an unlimited disposable income for London of India and United Kingdom of India. And we cater to that through Coldplay, Ed Sheeran, Lollapalooza, Bandland in Bangalore, unlimited. So to give you a sense, and this is private, I hope, as friends, we did Ed Sheeran in Bombay in March. There were 50,000 people. We did 43 crores in ticket sales for 90 minutes. आपके लिए तो एक मकान है, you can sell that and do it in one day, but I'm saying 43 crores in 90 minutes. For Lollapalooza, a 2-day festival in Bombay, we do 11 crores in food and beverage. खाना पीना का 11 crore लोग खर्चा करते हैं 2 दिन में. This is the London and United Kingdom of India. The challenge for you guys is that this London and United Kingdom and the next generation, not our generation, I'm probably that cusp, the next generation only wants experiences. बैंक में पैसा नहीं है, अपने बाप को बोलेगा मेरे को इकोनॉमी टिकट देना, but I'm going for a Taylor Swift concert to Singapore. And this is the challenge, that this economy is a gig economy. They don't want any permanency. They don't want homes. They don't want cars. And don't look at your own kids surrounding who go to international schools or whatever. Look around you. They will live on debt. They will do whatever, but they want experiences. So if you look at kids abroad, they're not looking to buy unless they get married in a suburb. They're not looking to buy. In the city, they rent. This thing of purchasing and buying and owning will change dramatically. And for a lot of people, real estate, gold is security, and that will continue in tier 2, tier 3. And your greatest growth over the next 15, 20 years is going to come from Brazil of India. because that still has the hangover of that security need. London of India is going to disappear, the younger guys, the younger generation, not the older guys. All the guys that were doing it for capital gains and all that for saving is a different story altogether. वो 300 crore का घर खरीद रहा है, 250 crore, that was all capital gains. But the real guys who are going to buy apartments or real estate will disappear at some point. And look, globally, it is going to flatline because people are more and more going towards experiences. And this is at least what we found, and we are always trying to catch the next trend. And then there is the United Kingdom of India, which buys VIP tickets for Indian shows, Arijit Singh, they will buy for Hanuman Kind, they will buy movie tickets in Hindi. And the Brazil of India, for us, buys regional tickets. So regional movies in Tamil, Telugu, Kannada, Marathi. The South Indian film industry actually is 2x over the last 2 years of combined of Hollywood and Bollywood combined in India. But Hollywood and Bollywood gets a price point of 280 rupees. This gets a price point of 170, but the 170 is going to catch up very quickly. The guy is spending 170, but he's spending 250 rupees on popcorn. So he's still spending that kind of money. So that is going to rapidly change because regionalization is the key to growth in this country. And then, there's this Africa of India. And we as business leaders need to do something about the Africa of India. And you can't make money out of Africa of India. We have to uplift in our own little way. So, one of the things that we sat together many, many years ago, as we were building the business, 7 or 8 years ago, I felt that there is a moral obligation, and we keep saying CSR budgets se nikalenge. We have no CSR budget because we don't need to keep one. Most of you probably have one. And so we said, let us involve our end consumers. So just to give you a state of play of BookMyShow, again, this is private. BookMyShow has 90 million customers. All our business is based on analytics and data. We're present in 700 cities and towns. We cater to 250 million unique customers every month. We do 5 billion page views, and we sell 25 million tickets a month. All of Ticketmaster globally, so that is about 300 million tickets a year. All of Ticketmaster globally sells 150 million tickets a year. We sell 300, we are 2x the size. And so we said, why don't we use the power of the numbers that we have? So I'm not a religious guy. I've never been to a temple, a mosque. For archaeological purposes or historical purposes, great, but otherwise I'm not. I'm quite Gnostic in that way. Last night we had a lot of drinks. Anybody will vouch for that. And one of the things that I said is that the true spirituality is about what we can do as a community. And so I said I'm going to add 1 rupee per transaction, per ticket to every person who's buying a ticket on BookMyShow, and that's 25 million tickets a year. And we are growing at 30% year on year, only on that part of the business. And so in the first month when I launched this 1 rupee, I collected 6,000 rupees. The next month it went to 7,000, 8,000 at flatline. And that's when I realized that a lot of people don't contribute enough. So, like I said, I'm not religious, but I like philosophy. If most of you know the Bhagavad Gita, it is Krishna's discourse to Arjuna on the battlefield of Mahabharata. It is a strategy book which talks about things which all of us know but have not understood, most of us. Basically, Krishna was a cheat. He cheated in war because he kept the sun up. The war should have ended, he kept the sun up. He did insider trading. He told Arjuna the weak spot of Karuna. He was not supposed to do that. He had all these women all around him. So if Krishna can do all of this, who the hell am I? And Krishna's philosophy was, if your intent is pure and your end goal is clear, your means can be wrong. And he used all the wrong means to get the end goal clear. I said, if Krishna can do it, I'll tear a leaf out of the Bhagavad Gita and I'll also implement it. So in BookMyShow, instead of doing an opt-in for 1 rupee, I made it opt-out, Times New Roman, gray, and it was 6 the size of the font. Just by that change, I'm cheating 90% of my customers like you who don't see it. I collect 1.5 crores a month. From 10,000 rupees, it's become 1.5 crores. And that budget of 15 crores, which is Book a Smile, now goes into supporting theater, arts, music, and sports programs. And I'll tell you the benefit of what has happened. And these are real life stories. So Prithvi Theatre, which is a 42-year-old theater, would have shut down Every year we give them a grant. We do the same for NCPA. We support dancers on wheelchairs. We started a program called, there's a guy called Franz who sails with me on my boat, an American guy. He came to India and he started a football academy in 70 kilometers outside of Ranchi. And he trains girls in soccer because in that village he found that all the girls were being married off at 16 and 17. Brothers and fathers were telling them to cook and clean, learn the ways of the house because that's what they were supposed to do because they were going to get married at some point. Against all odds, this guy was fighting a battle, but he didn't have the money. So we said we're going to fully support Yuva as a soccer program. It started with 6 girls. Today, we have 350 girls. On the back of that, we have started a school, which is a night school. So they still go home and do a little bit of cooking, cleaning, and to make their parents happy. But they play soccer during the entire day. Every year, 6 of them go for UEFA level 1 coaching to Real Madrid and Real Sociedad. We fund the whole program. But the proof of the pudding after 7 years was, one of the girls last year, and it's on CNBC, I can forward it to you, and so if it inspires you to do something, made it to Howard on a full scholarship. And 2 of her cousins are now applying to Ivy League schools, and they live in a village 70 kilometers outside of Ranchi and play soccer, and fully funded by us. So I think we have real life stories where we've been able to transform lives by this 1111 rupee, by stealing from you. And I think if we can steal, our problems in India don't need to be solved by America. We don't need to take from the West. Our Africa of India is right near our London of India. You build these beautiful buildings. You have these bridges. We are living in these glass, offices with air conditioning, and you could come to any of our offices, and you could be in the London of India. And right under that bridge is an Africa of India, and I think it's our moral obligation to uplift them. And I think, as a part of that philosophy, I think there's a larger thing on karma. We've been through the dot-com bust. We've been through 2008, the global financial crisis. We've been through the pandemic. But every time we survive, so there's this whole thing of, you would have read in Economic Times, unicorn, $1 billion company. I keep getting asked that, are you a unicorn? I said, nahi bhai, we are not unicorns, we are cockroaches. You open a microwave oven, you'll find us. There's a nuclear holocaust, we survive. So they said, nahi, kuch to bolo, unicorn. I said, wo sala mythical animal. Have you ever seen a horse with a horn? I have never seen a horse with a horn. It's mythical. It's only in Economic Times. There's no reality to it. So he said, nahi, you cannot say you're a cockroach. Kuch to aur bola. I said, no, we are mongrels. We are street fighters like dogs every day. In our country, every day you have to fight to get ahead. Some day you fight. If there's a pack of dogs on the other side, you run. Some days you come back and have a fight. But there's a street fight every day in our country, at least in our generation for the next 20 years. It will still be a street fight. So I said, you want to write something in paper, cockroach mat likho, mongrel likh do. And I think all of us have that philosophy and then inherent. Either we are first or second generation entrepreneurs. And we've scaled up businesses over a period of time. But to do it in a right manner, to do it, and we all know how the country operates, and we have to, there's a moral standard, and there are things that we've got to do. But at the end of the day, if you circle back to the self and say that we can do something which we are proud of, where the intent is clear and the end goal is clear, the means can be totally wrong. And I think that is the guiding principle that I live by. I don't know, you may call me extremely, some people say it's, you're living in a fool's paradise. And there are 2 kinds of people on earth who are pessimistic, and they say the glass is half empty. And the optimist who says the glass is half full. I think guys like Baman and me look at the empty part of the glass and we add whiskey. Either you'll be too drunk to care or you'll enjoy the ride. So, we are somewhere as a 3rd dimension. And in this country, you have to scale up, you have to be in the 3rd dimension. You can't swing like a pendulum. I think the next phase for us was very important. I have 15 minutes and I'll wrap up in 2 so that if there are any questions outside of tickets for Coldplay, I'm happy to answer. We saw a dynamic shift where we were a ticketing company. From the first part of our journey, for the first 10 years, people would tell us that India will follow the US model. So we kept hearing. That was from 99 to 2009. From 2009 to 2019, everybody said India will go the China way. We heard them also. All companies came that went to $20 billion. Today, they're $2 billion after their IPO. You know who I'm talking about. China model, China model. I keep telling people India will go the India way. We have to find Indian solutions. Neither are we going to go the US way, neither are we going to go the China way. We have to go the Indian way. Look at companies like GM, Ford, who came to India with an American model, failed, out of the country, will never come. Companies like Suzuki, companies like Hyundai, who made it the India way, made it their job to do it the India way, have succeeded and are flourishing. And I think we have to find those solutions ourselves. So as a part of that journey, the first 10 years for us was building infrastructure on the ticketing side. Very little money. We earned money, we paid salaries, didn't pay ourselves. The next 10 years was about scaling the internet revolution, but by making money, not by being a loss-making company. We have real EBITDA margins, real PAT, no adjusted EBITDA, no adjusted PAT, nothing. No hidden losses, everything is true on our books. And we found the next 10 years was very rewarding because we built this entire platform. And based on the data and analytics that we are seeing, and the consumer insights, and always being ahead of the curve, sometimes we may get it wrong. We get it wrong a lot. The culture in the company is of that of innovation. We are constantly innovating. We call a lot of our leaders entrepreneurs. We bought a company called Sunburn. We bought a company called Tribe. We bought a company called Peppo. All of these leaders have equity in the company. We distribute the wealth, but they're all entrepreneurs within the company who are in their own right, operating as entrepreneurs within a bigger umbrella and constantly innovating. As a part of that innovation, we discovered that the trends for consumers is changing so rapidly that they want experiences and there's disposable and discerning wealth, and there is a jigger to spend on that. That was so important for us. And as a part of that journey, just prior to the pandemic, we launched our live events business. The story is quite astounding. The live events business didn't exist in India. Everybody used to ask for free passes. If you saw all the Times events and all of that, there were only free pass distribution. And there was really scrappy events. There would be an event of Metallica run by somebody in Bangalore. There would be a Crush in Delhi. Experiences would be poor. The food would be bad. People would get sick with the water. And we said we've got to change to the aspirations of our users by giving them the same experiences, which is not good enough for India, but it's good enough, period, globally. So what was happening is that all these guys were cheating the talent and the agents and managers on one side, and they were cheating consumers on the other side. Events would get cancelled. Customer experience would not be good. They would say, Scarlett Johansson is coming to sing for your New Year party, and Mamta Kulkarni would come. All this shit was happening. So we said, we've got to live up to our promises. And so one of the things that we did, and another thing that came out of the research, was that if the event is good, you remember the talent. Arey, Coldplay ne itna acha kaam kiya, Justin Bieber ne kaam kiya. But if the event was bad, you always remember the guy who took your money, and BookMyShow always collected. We always took the money. So you never think about Tata Power or Adani. But जिस दिन बिजली जाती है उसको आप गाली देते हो. Same thing was happening with us. We were running a service. And so there was no ego. We're running a service. And born out of that was this whole need and desire to be able to get in front of the consumer and own the entire 360 stack of the consumer experience. And so as a part of that, we built Lollapalooza in India. We built Bandland. We have Sunburn. We have Coldplay. We just did Ed Sheeran. We are announcing all the tours that will come over the next few years. But what has happened out of this is that till about 5 or 7 years ago, 90% of our ticketing revenue came from the top 4 cities and then 8 cities. That is your top 8 cities. And then we have these emerging 6 cities which are in our data stack, which is the emerging model, and then it's rest of India. Today, 50% of our revenue comes from these 26 cities, including the top 8, and 50% of our revenue is coming from rest of India, which is outside of the 26 cities. And that is the highest growth curve that we are seeing. Something which should be of an insight to you, because everybody wants the glory of being in Bombay, Delhi, Bangalore. You look outside and you will see what the growth patterns are. You may buy the land today and hold for the next 15 years, which your fathers did or your grandfathers did. That same model needs to be applied today because we are seeing the early trends on movie tickets on where it's going. And that gave us the insight into what we should do for live events. On the live event side, so we now get 50% of our revenue outside. About 98% of our revenue came from movie tickets till 7 years ago. Today, movie tickets is only 60% of our revenue. The rest is all live events and experiences. In the next 5 years, the movie ticketing business will be 25% of our revenue because the growth is going to come from here. So we used the flywheel of what we were already building, which you have done in the big cities, and learned from that and what we need to build for the future, which is our live events business. I think with that, I can end except for one last anecdote, which could be funny, and then we have 10 minutes. So as we were building our business, you know, a lot of consultants, because they know you guys have a lot of money, they'll come to you. Consultants tell you things that you already know, but you want a rubber stamp to go to your board or investors to say, "मैं यही तो बोल रहा था." So consultants came to us. We will build SAP. You know, some of you big companies may have SAP. They said, we'll build technology solutions. We'll build ERP. We said, boss, let us build it the Indian Jugadu way. And let us first understand what's the need of the consumer rather than buying a $2 million technology platform, which everybody gets excited. AI is the next thing. Let's do that. I'm sorry there was a session before this. But I'm just saying be a little more practical before you implement anything. And our learning was as follows. You know, in the period of 99 to maybe 2005, 2006, we used to deliver tickets to people's homes. We used to physically deliver tickets. And we had a CRM where we had built where we needed to blacklist and whitelist customers because we would collect cash. I remember in Delhi, and this is not to piss on Delhi, I'm just using Delhi examples, okay, not because I'm from Bombay. We had this customer called Pappu Pelwan. He was from Paharganj. Every third transaction or fourth transaction, he would snatch the tickets and not pay. So we started building blacklisting and whitelisting. We had a guy called Mr. Khanna, who would buy tickets for this cinema in Delhi. I don't remember, it was Sangam or one of those cinemas, I can't remember. It was a cinema that played B grade, C grade, semi-porno movies. Every time Khanna would order tickets and we would deliver tickets, if it was for that Sangam cinema, 2 tickets delivered to his office. Every time it was a family movie, 4 tickets delivered to his house. We knew and he knew Khanna was having an affair. But nobody else needed to know. Our CRM was telling us that data. We inferred that data. Now, God forbid, अगर वो साला 2 ticket उसके घर पे deliver हो जाता, बत्ती गुल. So it was so important for us. But we built it ourselves, right? The second example. So, you know, that's how we built. The second example. You know, today, when you deliver tickets to, you get a package, Amazon, Flipkart, Zepto, आपका बीवी कुछ order करता है 10 minutes में. Nobody has patience anymore. Butter की इतना क्या ज़रूरत है कि 10 minutes में चाहिए? साला आएगा ना 4 घंटे में. But now everybody is this impatient economy. Now, that guy comes with a, you can track. पहले तो you order on Swiggy or Zomato. Then all your time pass for the next 40 minutes is tracking that guy. So you're wasting time, but you're feeling you're doing something, contributing to the economy. All this nonsense is happening. At that time, there was no phone, there was no cameras, there was no connectivity. So the guy could not come to take a digital signature. There was no proof of delivery. So when we were doing World Cup, I remember when there were no digital phones and data connectivity, we used to deliver physical tickets and it would get delivered and the guy would say, if I'm not there, deliver it to my neighbor. We would deliver it. The guy said, neighbors would turn around and say, मेरे को तो ticket मिला ही नहीं. I didn't get it. So people would turn on each other. We would do 15 deliveries every 4 hours, transactions. And people would call and said, you never showed up. How do you prove to the guy that there was a non-delivery receipt? So we started doing again something which was very practical. We started taking the DDR, the door description receipt. So we would take the description of the door. So when the guy called and says, you never showed up, we would say, of course we showed up. So the guy said, prove it. Sir, आपका नीला दरवाजा है, horseshoe है, golden grill. If he's a Sindhi, there was a golden grill. बोलेगा, how do you know? We said we showed up. So it was a practical way of actually breaking down the problem and then automating it through means of technology, whether you bought the technology or built it yourselves. But I think what is happening in today's world with over-information, everybody is trying to follow the technology bandwagon without knowing what the real needs of the consumer and your businesses are. So that was the last 2 anecdotes. We have 7 minutes. Any questions that you have, and I'm done.
जोर से बोलूँगा. No elephant in the room. Thank you. Amazing. But few friends called up. Few of them have 10 tickets. They're going for an IPO. Okay. Thanks to you. Ashish, on a serious note, you started with a business which nobody thought of. Today you're at 78, 80% market share. What's the entry barrier? How is the next Book My Show going to give you a fight? And how are you preparing for it?
Look, two ways to answer that. First of all, we are bloody good at our job. And I'm proud of it, that we are damn good at our job, that we kick the pants of other people. So there's no other, we work hard. And we stay humble. Number two, I think every time there's a cycle of people that comes in. There was a whole huge competitor that came in with $1.5 billion in the bank, $22 billion of net worth, went public. We beat them, they sold the business, they're out. A lot of people don't know this. In '99, when I started, we had 21 competitors. 21 competitors. You've not even heard of them. We annihilated them. Before 2008, in 2006, the gold rush of 2006, we had 18 competitors, and they disappeared. I think what competitors also do is keep us on our toes, help us innovate faster, stay grounded and humble. But more importantly, when they come with bags of money, they actually grow the market. So we believe, if you see Formula One, you're racing in a car, the guy in front of you uses extra energy to cut through, like Baman on his bike. The guy behind is using 25% less energy, and that's when he uses the DRS to get ahead. Let the other guy spend money, let him create more users, let him create habit. We will get ahead with the DRS in due course. So there is no hurry. We are doing it for 25 years, or karenge na. There's no worry.
So you're saying you're not worried about Zomato and the world?
Whoever comes here, let people come and also spend money and build the business for it to become an industry. It can't be one guy. But just because somebody else didn't succeed, that doesn't mean we were not good at our job. We were great at our job.
Thank you. And thank you, CREDAI, for keeping the most wanted man in India and Australia safe.
Hi. Hi, Ashish.
Yeah, hi.
This side, yeah? To the right.
My
Left,
right?
left,
Okay.
left, yeah.
Hi.
You talked about experiences. I think that's a beautiful topic. All the new age buyers, new age next generation seek our entire real estate builder community to bring some superior experiences right to their home. We're kind of doing it on our own means, bringing beach lagoons. But what do you think are the new experiences that the next gen would want in the clubhouses, in and around their homes? What do you see?
Great question. But, you know, clubhouses and all is a very small soch. Pardon my, it's very small. Clubhouse is a waste of time. Everybody in their own building has a clubhouse, Baman's building, so clubhouse, nobody wants to step out with our traffic. This is a very, Irfan and I were talking about it yesterday. This cluster development, and I know land is expensive and not easy to get in India, but I'll give you some examples. I don't know if you've heard of a company called AEG. AEG is a $27 billion enterprise which calls itself an entertainment company. But their biggest business is bloody real estate. So AEG has AEG Presents and AEG Buildings. Now what AEG does, in fact, they have buildings in Sydney. We could have gone and shown you some, and in Australia. So if you know LA Live, where the Grammys are held, LA Live has this big crypto.com arena where LA Lakers play. So in America, all these big arenas that are built have anchor tenants, which is the ice hockey team and the basketball team. 150 days is taken away. India mein anchor is shadi. Aap khol lo koi bhi arena, sab log. We have abadi itni hai, shadi hoti rahegi. Then weekend pay you have to do events, because what if you see LA Live was the most downtrodden part of LA. In the last 15 years, that property around has grown 6x, and the rest of LA has gone 1.5x. Now here's the beauty. AEG has the highest number of keys of the Marriott group in America. 6,800 keys the guy has, only around his arenas. There are 4 hotels around LA Live, 37 bars and restaurants, 2 theaters, and this arena. And now they're building complexes. If you've gone to London, you remember 10 years ago, Wembley Stadium, kutte bhokte the, there was nothing over there. There was one stadium and empty. Today you go to Wembley, there is residential complexes and commercial, which is at the highest price because the train goes there. O2 is the same. O2 was built as a dome. It was sold, it was not sold. The mayor of London gave it to Tim Leivicki for £1 a year for the next 99 years. Now look at the development around there. So I think cluster-based development for something which is outside of the city or somewhere else will draw 30, 40,000 people every weekend through experiences and live events, which will start getting metro lines there, road connections, businesses, small businesses to flourish. And then you do a slam dunk 10 years down the line or 7 years down the line if you have the holding power to build everything around that first project that was doing this. ये multiplex, club house बहुत छोटा-छोटा चीज़ है. ये बड़ा कुछ करना पड़ेगा. The ROI will not come from the per square foot return. It will come from what you've built and what you're going to build around that. And I can give you hundreds of examples.
Fantastic.
I have like 2 questions for you.
Sure.
Sorry about it. My first question to you is, if you have to look back at the Ashish that existed in 1999, what is the one message you would give to him from all your experiences that you've garnered now? And do you ever see selling homes on BookMyShow?
To answer your second question, no. Because...
Why?
No, because look, I don't think we understand. Unless you don't deep-rootedly understand a business and know your consumer, know the tribulations and trials that you guys go through, I think it's wrong to... I think there is definitely a model in India where the broker community, which is the real estate agent community, needs to be certified. It needs an association. It needs... I think that will change the dynamic of real pricing which you can get, because today there's a lot of undercutting, underselling, it's fragmented, there are no rules there. If you make it a rule-based service layer, I think it'll be a game changer for the real estate business, which is why you can organize things in the Western world. You need to be certified to be able to become a broker. India mein to anybody can become, right? So I think there's a little bit of a challenge there, and I think that will be a game changer. In terms of me then and now, I have no idea. I think I've lived my life on the same terms, my terms. I still do exactly the same. For 32 years, I sail every Saturday. I wear the same clothes. I haven't changed my cars in the last 12 years. The car that I own is a 4x4 Yeti. 14 years, she's still going strong. Maharashtra will start banning her for 1 year later. So Goa bhejna padega. Those are my challenges. I won't change anything in the world.
Not bad. Thank you so much for being here, for sure.
Thank you.
In spite of everything that you have back there.
Thanks. All right. Thank you, guys. Thank you very much.
Please now, Ashish, have you back on stage, and I want to call Nitish Reddy and Vinita Dinal to please come on stage. And oh, there, your question is walking up. There you go. A round of applause for this wonderful, wonderful 1 hour that we've spent listening to all these interesting anecdotes and how he built up BookMyShow, and I'm sure he's going to build much, much more. Wow. Thank you, Ashish, and thank you, Baman, for getting Ashish, dragging him all the way to Sydney and getting him on this platform.